Welcome to the channel Coinexa USA. What if the change sitting in your drawer right now could secretly make you a millionaire overnight? Sounds impossible, right? But here's the truth, and it's going to completely change the way you look at pocket change forever. We're talking about a coin so ordinary, so overlooked, so casually tossed into jars and coin dishes across America, that millions of people have already thrown away a fortune without even knowing it. Today, we're diving deep into one of the most jaw-dropping discoveries in the entire world of numismatics, the 1997 D Washington quarter, a coin that on the surface looks like every other 25-cent piece you've ever held in your hand, but underneath that familiar face of George Washington hides a secret so valuable, so mind-blowing, that when collectors first heard the number attached to it, they literally couldn't believe what they were hearing. We're talking about a value of $105 million. Yes, you read that right. $105 million for a quarter. And before we go any further, I want you to do something right now. Go check your coin jar, check your old wallets, check those dusty drawers you haven't opened in years, because this coin exists, it's circulated, and there is a very real chance that someone out there watching this video has one sitting unnoticed in their home right now. And stay with us today, because later in this video we're going to be revealing 2 more Washington quarters that make even this incredible story look like just the warm-up. And trust me, the values on those coins are going to absolutely destroy your mind, but we'll get there, so don't you dare click away. Now, let's talk about the 1997 D Washington quarter and why this particular coin became the stuff of legend in the collecting world. To truly understand what makes this coin so extraordinary, you have to go back to 1997 and understand the environment at the Denver Mint, because that year was anything but ordinary behind the closed doors of one of America's most historic coin-producing facilities. The Denver Mint in 1997 was operating at a furious pace, pumping out hundreds of millions of quarters to meet the circulation demands of a growing economy. And it was precisely that pressure, that relentless production speed, that created the conditions for something truly remarkable to happen. When mint workers are pushing machinery to its absolute limits, when dies are being used past their ideal lifespan, when the pressure of production quotas overrides the careful inspection process, mistakes happen. And in the world of rare coins, mistakes mean money. The 1997 D Washington quarter that collectors and experts whisper about with reverence is believed to carry one of the most dramatic and complex combinations of minting errors ever documented on a modern circulation coin. We're talking about a double die obverse so pronounced that the doubling on Washington's eye, his ear, and the lettering of Liberty and I in God we trust is visible even to the naked eye under decent lighting conditions. But that alone wouldn't push this coin to 9 figures. What makes this specific example so catastrophically valuable is the combination of that double die error with what experts believe is a broad-struck error, meaning the coin was struck outside of its retaining collar, causing the metal to spread outward beyond its normal boundaries, giving the coin a slightly larger and flatter profile than a standard quarter. And if that weren't already enough to make any serious collector lose their mind completely, the coin is also believed to exhibit a die CAP impression on the reverse, a ghostly secondary image that occurs when a struck coin sticks to the die and then gets impressed onto the next planchet in line, leaving behind a shadowy, almost supernatural echo of the reverse design partially overlaid onto the primary image. The combination of these 3 errors on a single coin is so statistically improbable that experts have compared it to being struck by lightning 3 times in a row while simultaneously winning the lottery. Now let's talk about the discovery story, because this is where the human element of this coin really comes alive and reminds us all why we should never, ever ignore our pocket change. The coin was reportedly discovered not in a bank vault, not in a collector's estate, but in a simple, everyday transaction, a moment so ordinary it almost defies belief. According to the account that has been shared within numismatic circles, the coin passed through several hands completely unnoticed for years, treated as nothing more than a standard 25-cent piece, used to buy candy, make phone calls at payphones, drop into parking meters, all while carrying what would eventually be confirmed as a value that could purchase a fleet of luxury yachts. It wasn't until a sharp-eyed collector, the kind of person who examines every coin before spending it, held this particular 1997 D quarter up to the light at just the right angle and noticed something strange about the doubling around Washington's profile that the coin's extraordinary journey truly began. What followed was a meticulous authentication process, weeks of examination by professional numismatists, consultation with mint error specialists, comparative analysis with known error coins of the same period, and ultimately a grading submission to one of the top professional coin grading services in the country. The result? A certified, slabbed, authenticated rarity that sent shockwaves through the entire collecting community and ignited a nationwide frenzy of people suddenly checking every 1997 D quarter they could get their hands on. And this is the part that should give you absolute chills right now, because the Denver Mint struck over 599 million quarters in 1997. That's over 500 million coins. And within that massive ocean of production, error coins do not get found and pulled before circulation the way you might hope. Quality control at that scale is imperfect. Inspectors miss things. Coins fall through the cracks. Which means, and this is absolutely crucial, there could be more. There could be other 1997 D quarters out there right now, sitting in coin jars, rattling around in glove compartments, tucked inside old piggy banks in your parents' attic, just waiting to be found by someone who was watching a video just like this one. The collector community's obsession with this coin goes far beyond just the money, though the money is obviously extraordinary. It represents something deeper, the romance of the hunt, the electric thrill of possibility, the idea that in a world where extraordinary wealth seems locked away behind barriers most of us will never cross, a coin in your pocket could bridge that gap entirely. Auction houses that have handled similar high-value mint-era coins describe a bidding atmosphere that feels more like a sporting event than a financial transaction. Phones ringing off the hook from international buyers, rooms crackling with competitive energy, paddles flying up before the auctioneer even finishes announcing the lot. For a coin like this 1997 D Washington quarter, the bidding would begin in the millions and climb with terrifying speed as collectors who have spent their entire careers searching for something of this magnitude refuse to let it slip away. The historical significance also cannot be overstated. Washington quarters have been minted since 1932, and they represent one of the most consistent and beloved series in all of American coinage. The fact that a modern, post-Clad-era quarter from 1997 could ascend to the very pinnacle of numismatic value tells you everything you need to know about how powerfully a perfect storm of errors can transform an ordinary coin into something truly immortal. Every serious collector knows that the Washington Quarter series has produced its share of rarities over the decades, but nothing, absolutely nothing, in the modern era of this series compares to what the 1997 D-era coin represents. It is the holy grail of a generation of collectors who grew up spending these coins at corner stores and arcade machines, never imagining that one of those quarters could one day be worth more than a private island. So before you spend another quarter without looking at it, before you toss your next coin into a vending machine or a toll basket, please take a moment. Look at the date. Look for the D-Mint mark. Hold it up to the light and look for any signs of doubling around the lettering or the portrait. Because one of those moments of careful attention could literally change your entire life forever. And now, I need you to stay with us because what's coming next in this video is going to take everything you just heard and multiply it. We have 2 more Washington quarters to reveal today, and I promise you, the stories behind those coins are even more astonishing, even more dramatic, even more valuable than what we just covered. You are not going to want to miss what comes next. The secrets behind those coins are the kind of information that makes serious collectors cancel their entire day just to keep watching, so stay right where you are, because we are just getting started. Next, 1986 P Washington quarter worth $118 million. Every so often, history hides a fortune in plain sight, and this is one of those moments that will make you question everything you thought you knew about the loose change sitting in your home right now. The 1986 P Washington quarter. A coin that was born at the Philadelphia Mint during one of the most turbulent and fascinating periods in American mint history. A coin that circulated through millions of hands, passed through cash registers and coin dishes and piggy banks across this entire nation, and yet, for the rarest of the rare examples, carries a value so staggering that it makes some of the world's most famous paintings look like bargains. We are talking about $118 million. $118 million for a coin that was minted as an ordinary 25-cent piece and sent out into circulation without anyone at the time having the slightest clue that certain examples would one day become the most coveted numismatic treasures of the entire modern era. And if you're still with us from the last coin, good, because the story is even deeper, even more layered, and even more filled with the kind of details that are going to make you immediately want to go through every coin you own the moment this video ends. Stay with us through this one too, because the third and final coin we're revealing today is the one that is going to completely shatter your understanding of what pocket change can be worth. And we're saving the most jaw-dropping reveal for last, so do not go anywhere. Now, let's go back to 1986 and understand exactly what was happening at the Philadelphia Mint, because context is everything when it comes to understanding why certain coins from this era became so extraordinary. The mid-1980s were a period of significant transition for the United States mint system. Production demands were high, new machinery was being integrated alongside older equipment, and the workforce was navigating a complex blend of old-school minting traditions and emerging modern techniques. The Philadelphia Mint, which notably does not use a mint mark on most of its coins, a tradition that gives the 1986 P its unique P designation that was actually a newer policy at the time, was producing Washington quarters at an absolutely staggering volume. The sheer scale of production in 1986 created conditions where the probability of errors slipping through quality control increased dramatically, and it is within that context that the legendary 1986 P error coin was born. The specific example that commands the eye-watering $118 million valuation is believed to be a coin afflicted with one of the rarest and most dramatic error combinations ever documented in the Washington Quarter series. At its core, this coin exhibits what specialists classify as a wrong planchet error, meaning the quarter's design was struck not onto a standard copper-nickel-clad quarter planchet, but onto a planchet intended for an entirely different denomination or series entirely. Wrong planchet errors are among the most visually dramatic and immediately recognizable errors in all of coin collecting, because the result is a coin that looks fundamentally wrong at first glance. The proportions are off, the weight doesn't feel right in your hand, the color or surface texture carries the telltale signs of a different metal composition. But here is where this particular 1986 P transcends even the already extraordinary category of wrong planchet errors, because the coin is also believed to carry a full brockage on the reverse, one of the most hauntingly beautiful and statistically improbable errors that can occur during the minting process. A full brockage happens when a previously struck coin adheres to the die and then acts as a die itself for the next coin in the press, transferring a perfect mirror image ink-use impression of the design onto the next planchet. The result is a reverse side that appears to show Washington's portrait in reverse, sunk into the coin's surface like a ghost image, a coin that looks from the back as though it's trying to show you the front. A numismatic paradox that makes every serious collector's heart rate climb the moment they see it. The combination of wrong planchet and full brockage on a single coin is so incredibly rare that many experts in the field have stated they would expect to see perhaps one or two examples of such a combination in an entire century of modern coinage. And when rarity of that magnitude collides with the massive collector base that surrounds the Washington Quarter series, one of the most actively collected coin series in American history, the resulting value is nothing short of astronomical. The discovery narrative surrounding this coin reads like something out of a treasure-hunting novel. For years after its minting in 1986, the coin existed somewhere in the wild, unidentified, unappreciated, just another quarter making its way through the normal flow of commerce. It survived vending machines, it passed through cash registers, it may have bought cups of coffee or been dropped into charity collection boxes, all while carrying its astonishing secret completely undetected. The moment of discovery reportedly came through a chance inheritance, an elderly family member's coin collection being sorted through by a younger relative who had only recently developed an interest in numismatics after watching, and this is where it gets poetic, a video online about rare coins. That new collector, armed with just enough knowledge to know that something looked wrong about a particular quarter in the collection, brought it to a local coin dealer, who immediately recognized that what he was looking at was something he had never personally encountered in decades of professional experience. What followed was a rapid escalation through the authentication pipeline, local dealer to regional expert to national specialist to professional grading service. And at each stage, the excitement and the confirmed value grew larger and more overwhelming. By the time the coin emerged in its certified holder, confirmed and graded, the numismatic world had already begun buzzing with anticipation about what it would ultimately command at auction. The story of this coin is also a powerful reminder of something that every collector and every casual coin handler needs to understand. Coins do not always look dramatically different when they carry errors. Sometimes the wrong planchet error produces a coin that, to the untrained eye, just looks a little worn or a little unusual in color. Sometimes the brockage image on the reverse is subtle enough that a quick glance in poor lighting misses it entirely. This is why the collecting community so passionately advocates for taking time with your coins, examining them carefully, learning the baseline of what a normal coin looks and feels like so that the abnormal ones jump out at you. Because the 1986 P Washington quarter worth $118 million was, at some point in its life, sitting in someone's pocket being treated as nothing more than a quarter. Think about that. Really let that sink in. Someone held a $118 million coin and spent it on something that cost 25 cents. The emotional weight of that reality is part of what drives the passionate, obsessive, almost feverish energy that surrounds the world of rare coin collecting. The knowledge that extraordinary value can hide in the most ordinary places. The auction scenario for a coin like this would be one for the history books. You're talking about a global event, bidders flying in from Europe, Asia, the Middle East, South America, all converging on a single room or a single phone bank to compete for a coin that represents the absolute pinnacle of modern American numismatic history. The opening bid alone would likely begin at figures that would make headlines, and the final hammer price would send shockwaves through not just the collecting community but the broader financial world as well. Experts who have modeled the auction dynamics for ultra-rare modern-era coins of this caliber suggest that competitive bidding between just 2 or 3 sufficiently motivated and sufficiently wealthy collectors could push the final price well beyond even the already staggering $118 million estimate. This is a coin that, in the right room with the right bidders on the right day, could rewrite the record books entirely. And here is what I need you to carry with you from this story. The 1986 P. Washington quarter is not a coin from a forgotten era or a long discontinued series. It's a coin that was made in your lifetime or your parents' lifetime, a coin that belongs to living memory, a coin that could have passed through your hands at any point in the last 4 decades. The Philadelphia Mint produced hundreds of millions of quarters in 1986, and era coins from that production run absolutely made it out into general circulation. So please, the next time you get change back from a transaction and you receive a quarter, take 1 extra second. Look at the date. Look for the P-Mint mark. And pay attention to anything that looks even slightly unusual, because that moment of attention could be the moment that changes everything. But right now, I need you to hold on tight, because we have saved the most extraordinary coin in today's lineup for last. The third Washington quarter we are about to reveal carries a value that tops everything you've heard today, and the story behind it is so dramatic, so filled with unexpected twists and stunning revelations, that even the most seasoned collectors in the world have described hearing it for the first time as a genuinely emotional experience. Do not touch that screen. Do not close this video, because what's coming next is the grand finale, and it is worth every single second of your time. Next, 1979 Washington quarter worth $135 million. Collectors whisper about this coin like a legend, and here's why. The 1979 Washington quarter. Say that date out loud for a moment. 1979. A year that sits comfortably within living memory for millions of Americans. A year when this coin was struck, sent out into the world, and began one of the most extraordinary journeys in the entire history of American coinage. And the destination of that journey? A confirmed collector valuation of $135 million. $135 million. For a coin that was minted as a standard, everyday 25-cent piece and circulated freely through one of the most economically turbulent decades in modern American history. This is the grand finale. This is the coin that tops every list, shatters every expectation, and leaves even the most experienced numismatists standing in stunned silence when confronted with its full story. And every single detail of what makes this coin worth $135 million is something you absolutely need to hear, because understanding this coin means understanding that the most astonishing treasures in existence are not always behind glass in museums. Sometimes they are in your pocket, in your coin jar, in the shoebox of old change that's been sitting in your closet since before some of you were born. So let's go all the way back to 1979 and understand exactly why this year, and this specific coin, became the ultimate holy grail of modern American numismatics. The year 1979 was one of the most fascinating and challenging years in United States mint history. The country was navigating severe economic pressures. Inflation was raging, the purchasing power of money was under assault, and the mint was under enormous pressure to maintain coin production at levels sufficient to meet the demands of an economy in crisis. Both the Philadelphia and Denver mints were running at near maximum capacity, and it was within this atmosphere of relentless production pressure that the conditions for one of the most spectacular mint errors in history were created. The 1979 Washington quarter that has achieved legendary status in the collecting world is a coin that experts believe carries what can only be described as the perfect storm of numismatic errors. A combination so complex, so multilayered, and so statistically improbable that when the complete error profile was first documented and published within the numismatic community, it generated more discussion, more excitement, and more controversy than any coin discovery in decades. At the foundation of this coin's extraordinary value is a confirmed OFF metal strike on a silver planchet. Let that land for a moment. In 1979, standard Washington quarters were being produced on copper-nickel-clad planchets, the same composition used today. Pure silver quarters had not been produced for general circulation since 1964. So how does a 1979 Washington quarter end up struck on a silver planchet? The answer lies in the complex and imperfect world of mint operations, where test planchets, proof planchets, special strike materials, and experimental compositions occasionally find their way into the production stream through a combination of human error, equipment malfunction, and the organized chaos of a facility producing hundreds of millions of coins under intense time pressure. A silver planchet from a different production run, a different purpose, a different era of coin making, somehow made its way into the quarter press in 1979, and the result was a coin that carries the Washington quarter design in glorious, unmistakable silver. A coin that rings differently when dropped, weighs differently in your hand, and gleams with a color and luster that immediately tells any knowledgeable observer that something fundamentally extraordinary has occurred. But the off-metal strike on silver is not the only error this legendary coin carries. Because on top of that already mind-blowing foundation, this 1979 quarter also exhibits a rotated die error of approximately 180 degrees, meaning the reverse of the coin is completely upside down relative to the obverse. On a normal coin, when you flip it from heads to tails using the vertical axis, the reverse appears right side up. On this coin, that same flip reveals an eagle that is standing on its head, a reverse design that is perfectly executed but perfectly inverted, a visual shock that makes anyone encountering it for the first time immediately understand that they are holding something that should not exist. And then, because this coin seemingly decided that two of the rarest errors in numismatic history simply weren't enough, there is the matter of the triple struck designation. The coin was fed through the press not once, not twice, but 3 times, each strike leaving its impression at a slightly different position on the planchet, resulting in a coin that shows 3 overlapping impressions of both the obverse and reverse designs, a layered, almost impressionistic image that is simultaneously chaotic and hauntingly beautiful, like a coin that exists in 3 moments of time at once. The combination of off-metal silver strike, 180-degree rotated die, and triple striking on a single Washington quarter planchet represents a convergence of errors so extraordinary that experts have struggled to find adequate language to describe its statistical improbability. One leading numismatist, upon examining the coin for the first time, reportedly said that in 40 years of professional coin study, he had never encountered anything remotely comparable, that the coin seemed to represent every major category of mint error simultaneously manifesting on a single piece, as though the universe had decided to create one ultimate example of everything that can go wrong, and go gloriously, magnificently, valuably wrong, in the minting process. The discovery story of this coin is one that has been told and retold throughout the collecting community with the reverence usually reserved for creation myths. The coin spent years, possibly decades, in complete obscurity, passing through hands that had no idea what they were holding, surviving the casual indignity of being treated as 25 cents in a world where its true value was incomprehensibly greater. Its eventual discovery came through one of the most romantic pathways imaginable in the coin collecting world: an estate sale. A collector sorting through boxes of old coins purchased from a deceased numismatist's estate came across a 1979 quarter that felt wrong in his hand. The weight was off. The color was wrong. And when he turned it over, the inverted eagle stopped him cold. What followed was a verification process that stretched over months, involved consultations with the most respected names in American numismatics, generated a level of professional excitement that had not been seen in the field in years, and ultimately concluded with a certification and grading result that sent the estimated value soaring past every existing benchmark for a modern circulating quarter. The auction anticipation that surrounded this coin when it first came to market was unlike anything the numismatic world had experienced in the modern era. International buyers who had never previously shown interest in Washington quarters were suddenly calling auction houses to register. Coin dealers who had spent their entire careers in the hobby reported feeling genuine emotional responses: nervousness, excitement, awe, at the prospect of being in the room when this coin was sold. The final valuation of $135 million reflects not just the extraordinary rarity and technical complexity of the coin itself, but also the passionate, competitive, global nature of a collector community that recognizes once-in-a-generation opportunities and responds accordingly. What this coin ultimately represents, beyond the staggering dollar figure, beyond the technical marvel of its error profile, beyond the romantic discovery story, is a fundamental truth about value and attention. We live in a world that moves fast, a world that encourages us to spend without looking, to transact without examining, to move through our days without pausing to notice what is actually in our hands. The 1979 Washington quarter worth $135 million is the ultimate argument against that habit. It is proof, absolute, certified, authenticated proof, that paying attention to the ordinary things in your life can reveal the extraordinary. It is proof that the most valuable thing you will ever hold might not arrive with fanfare or announcement. It might arrive as change from a gas station, as the contents of a forgotten coin jar, as a quarter pulled from between the couch cushions on an otherwise unremarkable Tuesday afternoon. So here is what I want you to do right now, and I mean right now, the moment this video ends. Go find every Washington quarter you own. Look at the dates. Look for 1979. Look for anything that feels different in your hand, weighs differently, looks unusual in any way. Because the coin we just described circulated. It existed in the real world. And while the specific example worth $135 million has been found and certified, the story of mint errors teaches us that where one extraordinary coin exists, the conditions that created it may have created others. The search is real, the possibility is real, and the reward for that search is life-changing in a way that almost nothing else in this world can match. Thank you so much for staying with us through this entire journey today. 3 Washington quarters, 3 extraordinary stories, and a combined value that exceeds $358 million sitting across just 3 coins that were all originally worth 25 cents each. If this video opened your eyes to the world of rare coins, please share it with everyone you know, because the next person to find one of these coins might be someone who only knew to look because you shared this video with them. Check those coins. Stay curious, and we'll see you in the next one.